Hey, what's up? My name is Nelson, and today I am talking about one of my favorite horror movies of all time, Halloween 1978, starring Jamie Lee Curtis and directed by John Carpenter. Alright, this is one of the greatest horror movies of all time. It's one of my favorite movies in general of all time. Every single time I watch it, I like it more and more. I'm actually amazed about how just amazing this movie is. Just each and every time, the older I get throughout the years, how much I love this movie and how much this is just gonna be a huge gushing over this movie. Because it definitely holds up to today, and it's definitely the greatest slasher movie of all time. I grew up more with Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th, more than I did with this. For me to say, I watched this probably when I was around 15 for the first time, and I loved it. And it never really, until I got older, it didn't become one of my favorites. I've always loved Friday the 13th, Jason Lives for my favorite slasher movie, but then the more I watch this, the more it's grown on me, and I've appreciated it more as an adult. This is just a fantastic film. From the direction to the acting is just, Jamie Lee Curtis is just amazing in this. She is definitely my favorite final girl of all time. I love her. And Donald Pleasance, rest in peace, as Dr. Loomis. This is definitely his best outing as the character, in my opinion. I really love him as this character. I mean, the only one that I don't really like him in is probably the fifth one. I had a real hard time with his character in that one, but for the most part, I'm sure he was getting bored of playing the part. So, for the most part, he is the thing throughout this series that makes these movies just amazing, and he is just definitely my favorite character throughout these whole series. He's just awesome. Then you have the score in this, that infamous score. It's just that Michael Myers music. You know it and you love it. It's amazing. It is one of the greatest horror scores of all time. It's so chilling. And I love in the beginning of the movie how basically the camera is Michael, and you don't see him a whole lot. I really love how he's just lurking in the shadows or lurking behind a bush, and you don't quite see him. That is just so terrifying, and I really, really love that. And you just basically, all you can hear is him breathing through the mask, and kind of the hard time he has breathing through that mask. It's just so chilling, and just so perfectly done. And I love hearing, with Dr. Loomis being he knows Michael because he's been taking care of Michael for so many years, and just how terrified he is of him. And how he's talking, and, he has those speeches throughout that are awesome, and he's just telling you, he is evil. He's not just an evil person, he is evil. He is evil walking with two legs. And I just love hearing his speeches about how terrified he is and how terrifying Michael is and just how scared he is of him. It's really, really good. The dialogue in the movie is pretty great for the most part. A lot of these late 70s, early 80s movies, the dialogue is real hard, and you could give it a pass. I mean, this dialogue isn't perfect throughout, but you have to give it a pass for the time that they were in. They talked a lot different than we did. But for the most part, the dialogue really, really holds up for this movie. When you first get, you meet Laurie's friend, and she's annoyingly in the laundry room and all that. And when, she goes out to the car to leave to go see her boyfriend because she gets Laurie to come over, and because she wants to go meet up with her boyfriend, and all she gets in the car, and she looks around, and she notices the windows are all steamed up, and she figures out that there's a person in the car. And Michael just grabs her and kills her, and I love how she figured it out before it happened. It was just like a really cool scene in the movie, really cool kill in the movie. And a lot of movies, they really they really rely on a lot of jump scares. And in this movie, there isn't a whole lot of jump scares, but there is a time where basically Dr. Loomis is just watching the Myers house. And he's sitting behind a bush and he's watching kids go up, and he's, yelling at the kids to not go in, or don't go in there, and, scaring them all away so they don't go in the house, because he wants to make sure that the children in the town are safe. And the cop comes up and grabs Loomis on the arm, and it's this huge jump scare. And the first time you see it, it's very terrifying. It's like, that's good jump scares. That's the difference between all of these newer horror movies that we get, where it's just very loud score and loud noises just to scare you. This one really just has, it's no score to it, very loud. He grabs his arm and Loomis jumps. And it's a really, really great scene. And there is the scene where he kills the one girlfriend and boyfriend, the very infamous scene where he kills the one boyfriend that she tells him, they do the deed, and she says, go get me a beer, and he goes down to go get her a beer. And when he kills that boyfriend, he just stabs him up against the wall, and he's stuck up against the wall. And he just kind of stares at him for a minute. It's like a solid minute. It was that's just showing how great of a director John Carpenter is. When he's just, he's got him stuck up against the wall. It's just a solid minute, maybe a little less than a minute of him just staring at him. It's really, like, with not being able to use so much blood because there wasn't a whole lot of special effects and stuff, and not being able to do these crazy scenes, really, really well done. And that just, like I said, it just shows how great of a director John Carpenter is, and how great of a writer he is too. And then it shows for the first time kind of how Michael likes to play with his victims. And he goes ahead and puts that sheet on with the glasses, and she thinks it's her boyfriend. And he comes up, stairs, and he kind of just stares at her, and she's like, quit, like, come on, what are you doing? Why are you still messing with me? Then, it's really funny to see how Michael he has a little bit of humor, and he kind of just plays with his prey pretty much. But the sheet, he kills her, and the sheet, as she falls, the sheet slowly falls off, and you slowly get Michael's face as the sheet slowly falls off. I thought that was a really, really great direction there, and really just an awesome, just awesome how that happened. Then, he finally gets to Laurie's house. And, the little boy keeps saying, hey, the boogeyman's outside, And she's like, don't worry. Laurie keeps saying, don't worry about it, and all that. There's no such thing as the boogeyman. And I just, again, with Jamie Lee Curtis's acting, she has been a great actress her whole life. And I just, obviously this is my favorite part for her. I do love her in the new ones, in the new one, in 2018 one. And I love H2O. H2O is my second favorite Halloween movie ever. But this is her greatest role of all time. She's so young in this role, and she just plays this part so well. Michael makes it into the house, and he comes in, and she tells the kids to leave. She figures out that he's there, tells the kids to leave, and Michael stabs Laurie. And you see, the first time she figures out he's in the house, and then you kind of just see Michael in the shadows. You just see that white mask, and it's so chilling right before he stabs Laurie. The camera work in this movie, too, is just amazing. Just how it's so steady and it's so ahead of its time. But I like the line that Tommy Doyle gives. He says, you can't kill the boogeyman. And every time that kid says that, it's so chilling. And, like I said, some of the dialogue is just amazing. And just some of the one-liners throughout this movie are just amazing. Right after he says, you can't kill the boogeyman, it sets up one of the most amazing, iconic horror scenes of all time, when Laurie's in the closet and Michael comes through the closet. I love that scene with all my heart. It's just such a good scene, and it's such a scary, scary scene. Another thing that I really like about this movie is that Laurie and Dr. Loomis aren't together throughout the entire movie. he doesn't immediately meet up with Laurie. And I love how they wrote that, and how just at the end, Dr. Loomis can hear Laurie screaming, and he runs into the house with his revolver, and he goes up there and he sees Michael, and he goes up the stairs and he sees Michael. He takes the gun out and doesn't even hesitate. Shoots him. He says 6 times, but it's 7 times. But he shoots him, and he falls off of the balcony. And that's when he finally, he looks down off the balcony, and he sees Michael's laying there, and he's like, okay, he's dead. That's when he goes up to, when he finally thinks it's over, he goes up to Laurie, and he makes sure Laurie's okay. And then they go back, and he's completely gone. And I love how the movie just completely ends there. And all you can hear, the credits start to roll, and you hear that infamous music again, and all you can hear is that infamous music and Michael breathing very loudly. And it's just so, it gives me like goosebumps. I mean, I have goosebumps just talking about that scene and just how well done it is. And this movie, it could have just ended there, and we couldn't have gotten any more sequels, and I would have been all right with that. Which, I'm glad that didn't happen, because I really do love H2O. H2O is definitely like it's my second favorite one, I would have to say. I definitely like H2O a lot. I like the second one a lot too. So I am glad that we did get all of these movies. But honestly, this would just be that awesome standalone horror movie just by itself, and I would be completely happy with that. I just love John Carpenter's direction. He's such a great writer and such a great director. Even this movie and The Thing, a lot of people don't know which one they like the best. A lot of people like The Thing a lot more, but obviously I like Halloween a little bit more than The Thing. But The Thing is such an amazing movie, especially for it being a remake, being such an iconic movie too. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And like I said, every single time I watch it, it gets better and better. I mean, honestly, it's one of those movies that you can just keep watching, and it's not like, oh, I've seen this movie too many times. It's not thrilling for me anymore. And it's like kind of like the same thing with Scream, really. For me, it's just, yeah, you know everything that's going to happen, but it's still such a great watch every single time. Obviously, for my score, I'm going to give it 100%. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 60, so I love it quite a bit. If you like what I'm doing on this channel, and if you like these videos that I've been posting for Halloween, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Nelson Reviews. Follow me on Letterboxd at Nelson48. Peace out.